Hi YouTube, it's Diane. Today is February 10th, 2022. There's a video that I had a guest named Tom, or nicknamed Tom. It's his 8th birthday today. Yeah, 8 years old. He's baby 13 and he's 8 years old. Anyway, what do I have for you today? I have some quilting haul to show. I just have DMC for stitching haul, so I'm not going to show that. But I do have some stitching kindness, and I have some whips. New start. Oh yeah, I have a finish. So I think we'll start with the finish. And I meant to grab my clips, but I don't have my clips, but I do have a board. So this one, she was just languishing, and I'm like, Diane, just get her done. So I did. And this one, oh, I'm looking out of the bag. And Morison, Hands Across the Sea. This was an exclusive through Traditional Stitches in Canada for their 20th anniversary. To my knowledge, they have no more of these particular patterns available. They have another one, I thought. But I started her January 1st, 2021. And she is finished. I did not iron her. I stitch in hand, so it is what it is. I can grab my clips. Hold 1 second here. So today is supposed to be 34, 37 here in Minnesota. It hasn't gotten there yet. It's like, I'm waiting. Spring is gotta be close. I'm ready for spring. Ready to see some green things, get warmer temperatures. And apparently it's snowing. It's warm enough to snow, but I live in Minnesota, and I realize, others who do not live here may not realize, but March and April tend to be two of our snowier months. And we haven't got there yet. But Ann Morison is stitched on 40 count Havana by Weeks Dye Works using the 103s. Those are the ones on the spools. Except Stitchful, when I kitted it up, they did not have 2 or 3 of the colors in the spool, but they did have it in the skein. And I used 1 strand over 2 threads, and one of the colors they indicated you should have 2, 2646. They said 2, and I bought the Soie d'Alger skein. I didn't need the second skein. So if somebody has the pattern and hasn't stitched it, this is what I have left of the first skein, and this is a whole skein. So that's the heart symbol. But here she is. Here she is in all her glory. I got stuck on this eyelet heart. Oh my word. This girl should have gotten an A for this piece, for those eyelets. Oh, eyelets. I didn't mind the eyelet alphabet. That was really fun to do, but then the eyelet heart just about did me in. And these 2 initials are eyelets, these sets here. And her A and her M are also eyelets. By then I'm like, I'm almost done. I gotta get done. But yeah, she is finished. So it is nice to have her done. I do like, this is the first time I ever stitched on, or using the 100.3s, the stuff on the spools. I like. And I don't remember if I've stitched with Soie d'Alger on the skein. I like those too. I will say though, and this is something not just Hands Across the Sea, but every designer, there are a couple of spools or skeins that you needed, and you did like 10 stitches. This dark gray color here, right here. So here, here, here. 6 letters. Not used anywhere else in the sampler. I understand they want to be authentic or as authentic as possible, but if I'd have known that, I would have used a different color. I could have easily mimicked the reds, one of the reds. Yeah, so, but all designers do that to some degree. And yes, I am going to, this is my first Hands Across the Sea. It's not my last one. I do, the patterns are so nice to read, and the colors, you know, aside from some patterns you have like 5 stitches, and it's like, really, do I need to get another color for that 5 stitches? On DNC that doesn't matter, but others it kind of bugs me, and that's just a pet peeve of mine. So that is the finish. I finished it in January, January 30th, 29th, 30th, right in there, so I could count it for Stitch from Stash. And then I started a new piece I'm going to show you in a minute because it's just farther from me. But in the last few days, or probably the last week, I was called to stitch on 3 Things by Moira Blackburn. I had a few things to pick up in here. This row of leaves here, and this was just started, this row here. These leaves were here, but these birds were not. And that is, so there's 9 pages to this design, and I have 6 pages pretty much finished. I have to finish, there's a little alphabet here I have to finish, and there's like 3 stitches here, 4 stitches there, 3 stitches here. I'll pick those up when I tackle 7, 8, and 9. This is charted in DMC, and that is what I'm using, 1 strand over 2 threads. This is for my 30th wedding anniversary, which is next month on March 14th. March 14th is not International Pie Day. Just saying. It is my anniversary, thank you. Anyway, whatever. Sometimes some of the days just get to be too much. You know, Blueberry Day and Donut Day and all that stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. This is on 40 count Verdal white, Verdal. Verdal is an even weave, and it frays. Frays. I tried to zigzag the edge of this so it wouldn't fray so much, and it didn't work. So what I did is I just put some old or leftover quilt binding on the edge, and here is where she is at now. So I had all of this done, I had all the words done. I had to finish the rabbit and this bird. I had the stork and the deer all done. The trees were done. I had to finish all of the tulips here and add another row of green. And these leaves I added, and then I filled in all these leaves. I had a lot of the outline was done last time I showed it, but I filled those all in, and this row of hearts and birds and flowers, finished all that, and I have about halfway done with the alphabet. So I'm over halfway done with this piece, and this is going to be for my 30th wedding anniversary. I'm going to, there's a line of, you know, wrought by down here. I'm going to somehow change that to reflect that it's for our 30th wedding anniversary. But this is 1 strand of DMC over 2 threads, and it's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I wasn't sure about the pinks because I'm not a huge pink person, but they work so well in this design, and I want to do other Moira Blackburns. So this piece I am going to put aside for now, because my goal was to get this bird row done right here, and it's done. So next time I'll pick it up, I will work on page 7. and then go back up into page 6 and pick up those few stitches, because there aren't that many stitches. Okay, Laura, don't freak out. But I fold it, and then I fold it again so you can't see the stitching, and then I fold it in half. At least at this point in the sampler. When it gets bigger, then I will totally fold it in half. And if you stitch that design, I had to buy a second skein of 730. It's the circle. Am I going to need that? I'm getting close enough. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to grab it in case I need it. So if you're going to stitch that design, I suggest a second skein of 730. If you're stitching with one strand, if you're stitching with 2 strands, you're definitely going to need a second one. And I don't remember if that was in the pattern or not. The piece that I started, I don't remember why, but I have all of the Gift of Stitching magazines, which she was having a sale, and they were 72 issues for $28. Fabulous deal, but I had paid excuse me I ate some almonds before I came on here, and instead of put piece stuck in my tooth and then decides to come out now. I bought it when there's 72 issues for $100, which is still a fabulous deal. Fabulous deal. Gift of Stitching was a digital cross-stitching magazine, and the editor who owns the rights to the magazine, there was a huge interest in the historic country sampler because of Deb from Country Stitchers. See, we have to blame Deb. But the person who owned the editor, she owns the rights and everything, she made them available again. And I will link that website below, so you can either buy just the patterns for the historic country sampler, I think. At one point she had a bundle for just those 12 issues, and then you had all of the issues, but to be honest, I think all of the issues are so worth it, and they're just, they're gorgeous. They're timeless patterns. And designers you'll recognize, Rosewood Manor contributed more than one time to that magazine. Praiseworthy Stitches, Prairie Schooler, some that I had never heard of from Europe, from Australia, the editors from Australia. This magazine, I wish I'd have known it was out there. I just didn't know about it. Otherwise, I would have subscribed. And it stopped being produced in 2012. And to be honest, their magazine puts some modern ones to shame, in my opinion. There are still some good ones out there that are being printed now, but I love their Christmas ornament issue. Very timeless patterns. So I don't remember what possessed me, but I started going through, and I found a pattern. And I don't know exactly what caught my eye beyond the colors on this particular pattern. But then I had a chance to go to Stitchville, and I cleared it up. Now, I do not have a color printer, but this is from June 2008, the Gift of Stitching magazine. And it's called Willie's Quaker Sampler number 7. Willie is the name of the designer. Wilhelmina Schmalling of Monasterium Designs. I hope I didn't totally butcher that. But it's from the Gift of Stitching magazine, June 2008 issue. And I had a perfect piece of fabric for it. And it is 36 count Cafe Misto by Fiberlicious. And it's stitched with Dinky Dyes silk in one color. Mingenew, number 146. One strand over 2 threads. And here's my map. Now I need to, there's another large motif here, and I think there's a large motif here and up top, some small ones. This is what I have left to do all that, so I need to get a second skein, and my husband's actually gonna, he'll be by Stitchville, which is where I bought this one, so hopefully the dye lots will match. But I am changing this. Friends lost their son a few years ago to a car accident, and his favorite colors were red and black. And I did start a piece in memoriam, a bit My Big Toe design, and if you've done any of their designs, you know they're huge, and I look at it and I feel guilty, and I don't want to feel guilty. This I think will appeal to them. It's a beautiful piece, and there's a leaf in the center. I am taking out these motifs here. So I have, okay, actually it's turned this way how I showed it. So I have this guy done. I really am not sure which way this is supposed to be displayed, but this is done. I started on this guy, and then there's a big one here, a big one here, and the bird. So this must be how it's supposed to be. Yeah, the picture's off in the magazine. But what I'm going to do is I'm taking these 4 motifs out, and I am going to, in black silk, black Dinky Dyes silk, probably dark coral, personalize it with the young man's name. The young man was one of my sons. Well, he hung out with 3 of my sons, and one of them considered him one of his best friends. So it was very, very shocking. It was hard to see him walk through that at such a young age. But I'm going to personalize it here. And then I'm going to order a square frame from Signed and Remembered, and I'm going to give this to them this year. The young man's birthday was in April, so the personalization will go in this area. And I want to give it to them by that time. And it's stitched up really, really quickly. It's just I ran out of thread. And nothing in the pattern indicates you need 2 skeins. They do suggest you use 2 strands, and I'm like, you would have ran out of it really quickly on 2. I think the model's stitched on 32 count. It doesn't say. Nope, model stitched on 34 count with 2 plies of silk. But she doesn't say you need 2 strands, or excuse me, 2 skeins. So if you're going to do this one in silk, you could use the same color. The color is just, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful variegated red. 2 strands, or 2 skeins if you're using 1 strand. If you're using 2 strands, you'd probably need 3 skeins. But it's beautiful. And so when I get that floss, then I want to finish that. And I want to have it finished here in February, and then order the frame, and then have it ready for April to give to them. Oops. So that's what I've been stitching. I have not been able to get quilting, and it's driving me nuts. But I went to Hobby Lobby, and I got some DMC for some pieces. And again, I was looking at the Gift of Stitching magazine, and I printed off this one. I wish I could tell you, mine cuts off the month and year. I know it was either 2011, 2012. I need to go back and figure it out. It's called the Jessie Burnet Sampler by Valerie Rostek of Aspen Ridge Threadworks. And again, I don't have a color printer, but here is the reproduction, and here's the original. And this is what I'm going to stitch it on, is 36 count Chocolate Mudslide by Fiberlicious. Let me get my board. And these are the colors. Very bright, beautiful colors. It's not a huge sampler. which is fine. But I'm kitting that up, getting everything prepped so I can start that one. And then I decided to pull out this one, Malaking from Bella Filipina. And I have this piece of fabric called Rolling in the Deep from Fiberlicious, 32 count. So I want to position her a little more in the dark, so the tiger lilies and the pond stuff here, and then have her up here. I originally bought this piece of fabric for Lady of Mystery by Mirabilia, but the pink color is too close to the pink of her gown. But you see this one, I am not going to do the wings. And you can see through her wing here, so I think I can fill that in when I get that far. But these yellows, and these are the colors that I purchased, except maybe one isn't in here. But yeah, I went to Hobby Lobby today and kitted it up DMC wise. There is a Karen water lily called for in the design. I have to see if I have it. If not, I'll get it from Stitchville. And there are several metallics, and I haven't had a chance to go through my stash yet to see if I have them. There's like 3 or 4 Krennics. I know one of them I definitely have. But kitting that. And then it's a private or a secret stitch that I am going to kit also. I also received Stitchy Kindness. It was so unexpected, and you know who you are. I'm not going to share your name, but you know who you are. Thank you. This is so sweet. Stacy Nash Primitives, Mary's Pinkeep, right? Pinkeeps. So you have this guy and this guy, and I have some 32 count natural that I'm going to stitch it on. She also included Tennessee Red Clay by Classic Colorworks, which will be a beautiful color because I think it calls for a DMC. Yeah, it calls for, I actually have that DMC sitting right here. It calls for DMC 632, which is a brown, right here, this reddish brown. And the Tennessee Red Clay, I think, it's a little more orangey, but I think it'll work really well. Well, she also included some other items in her Stitchy Kindness, which when I got the box, it was rattling and I thought, uh-oh. But she included some embellishments, some jeweled buttons. These charms are bees, butterflies, and dragonflies. I think those would be cute on zippers on my project bags. And these guys, the buttons, which I'm thinking this one, Queen Mermaid by Mirabilia, I think that would look really nice on there. To make sure I know how to secure it. Oh, and clips. Always love Wonder Clips. They do so well. Although when you're sewing and you want to have something mesh and line up and nest, a pin works better. But those work when you have blocks or pieces to put together. She also sent these little tags that say handmade on them. So I put those on my project bags. And she sent these buttons. And what I'm thinking is on that Pinkeep, where did I put the pattern? On this Pinkeep, if you put like I don't know, a couple inches of fabric, and then along the seam, just make a string of buttons. along the seam, and these would be so interesting to put there. So you know who you are, and I thank you. It was a great, huge surprise. And I have 32 count natural to stitch it on. It's not huge, but I haven't stitched a Stacy Nash, so that'll be new to me. The only thing is she has 5 crowns here, and she used 5 different initials from her family. We have more than 5 in our family. I'm doing the 5 crowns and then maybe scattering 16 initials through here. That might work. I have to figure that out. But thank you, and you know who you are. And I also grabbed, this is 32 count ice, kind of a gray blue. I have plans for this. 32 count, it says mustard. It's supposed to be mustard, A-R-D instead of R-A-D, but I have plans for that. I also grabbed some lobster claws to make it easier to put some of those charms onto zipper fobs or zipper pulls. Yeah, so my next, I'll have new starts this month. Yesterday I stumbled into a quilt shop in my area. Did not know that this particular quilt shop is closing the brick and mortar aspect of their store. They're going all online. And part of the process is to get rid of some older fabric in their store. And their fabric was 60% off. Quality quilt fabric. So yeah. This guy with the retro or older antique. We've got a Singer sewing machine there, LP player, phone. This reminds me of Downton Abbey. Route 66 gas pump, cash register, typewriter. Yeah. So then this guy. And this guy with this beautiful flower. And you can never go wrong with a black and white print. I took the rest of the bolt. And I saw these. Isn't that beautiful? And its companion. This one. So, probably project bags in the future. And fat quarters. This one. And I just got another of the white stripe. And after I had gone there, and this is the last week of their sale, so you won't be able to go into the store anymore. And I'm like, well, that was good timing. Although it was a cute shop, and it's kind of sad that they're not going to have that. They're going all online, which is fine. Different business model. Their patterns, however, were 75% off. So this is the 6-pack bag collection. You can make this bag with 6 fat quarters. Cuckoo by Elizabeth Hartman. Another kind of bag which I think would be cool to make into a stitching, you know, when you go on a retreat or go stitch elsewhere. Bride's Garden. I'm a Downton Abbey fan. Victorian Violet. Sybil's Spires. Regal Mary. Fans for Edith. And these are by Needle in a Haze stack, because the last name of the designer is Hayes. And I looked at the website. There is another Downton Abbey quilt pattern that's a free download. So I will link that website down below in case you want to go check it out. And this guy, it's a table runner. It's a log cabin table runner. And I bought one for my mom, who was also a quilter. The original pattern was $3.50. You get 75% of that. Decent price. And this one's also by Elizabeth Hartman. It's called Casserole. Scrap Buster. And I also bought a couple more patterns that I sent to my mom because she does so much charity quilting. But then I went to a quilt shop that's a little closer to me because I'm part of their block of the month. Oh, and for the record, according to my prescription, receipt, I saved $220 on fabric and those patterns. Yeah. And then at the quilt shop that I am part of the Quilt of the Month, Block of the Month Club, I picked up, these are called Gnomes in Love. Because I thought, I have to have some Valentine bags. So those will be project bags. And what I do is I have these are called comic book cardboard, so they're acid free. I bought them on Amazon years ago. And then I just make mini bolts out of anything that's over half a yard, edge to edge. Or, sorry. I have some pieces that are more of a fat quarter size, so I don't put them on here. But that's why these all look like this, because I wrapped them all yesterday. And then they had, where if you bought a fat quarter, you got one free, so I picked up some of these. And then they had some others yesterday, just fun fat quarters, and this one I just picked up because I was looking for that blue piece I showed before for the border. I changed it, and I actually chose a different fat quarter, which I don't have out here right now. But yeah. Oh, and I forgot. Charm Pack. Falling in Love. This is Riley Blake. And that one that I showed, the blue with the stars, barn stars, I think I'm going to do it again in this. It was a fun one to stitch, to sew. The block of the month is this one called Fair Isle. Isn't that gorgeous? So at the end of these 11 or 12 months, this is what my quilt will look like. In theory. In theory. So I need to work on, this is the first month. I'm going to show you some of the fabrics because I get the fabrics as part of the deal. And these are 3 fabrics I'll be using to make the first part. So, yeah. And I will link the quilt shop. Well, I don't know if you can sign up for this. If you want to know, contact me. Use my email. Because contacting me and messaging through YouTube has never worked very well for me for whatever reason. But contact me at my email and I'll give you the shop name and phone number, and you can call them and see if they have any extras. They were only getting like 12 kits, and I don't know how many they sold. So each month, and they will send it to you. They would send it to me, but I'm close enough. I'm like, yeah, I'll come pick it up. So this is the one I want to work on this weekend, and then I'll pick up something else. I also have my secret stitching I need to lay out and start, and life updates. The day after my last video posted, my Marine walks through the door. He's home. He is applying to school. Okay, sorry. my heat vent's up there, and it, anyway. So it's good to have him home. He's decompressing, kind of going from family to military, back to family, taking that time. And so he's also waiting to get all of the paperwork from the Corps so he can do all the application stuff that he needs to do. But it's really nice to have him home. And it was the day before his birthday. So I got to make him, the first time in 5 years, I got to make him his birthday cake. I know he didn't think, yeah, okay, Mom. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is important. I'm the mom. This is important. But yeah, I made his favorite birthday cake. And it's just been good to have him home. Weather has been improving, which is good to say here in Minnesota. And hopefully it continues to improve. But I will probably take a step back from Flosstube for a little while. Or I should say I'm more hit or miss on the videos. Now I do have one viewer who asked me some specific questions, and I do plan this weekend to do a video explaining or answering the question. I tried to answer it in email, but sometimes it's hard to say it the right way. I'm working on it, so I haven't forgotten, and your questions were very, very good questions. She's a newer stitcher or just recently returned to stitching, and at first I didn't understand her question. I misinterpreted it, but then she said, no, this is what I mean. I'm like, oh, yes. And I have been stitching for 30 years, so it's just something I do anymore. But it was a good question, and I totally understand. If I just came to stitching, that would probably be one of my questions too. And I know I've gotten help when I don't understand something. To be able to reach out to this community and get help is just fabulous. So there were 2 questions that she had, so I will probably do 2 shorter videos, and I'm working on it, so I haven't forgotten it, and I'll try and get one this weekend up. Why do I need to take a step back? My health, they have diagnosed me with neutropenia, which means I have low white blood cells, specifically neutrophils. It happens often when people have chemotherapy, but I've never had chemotherapy. So they're trying to figure out why this happened, because all my other blood cells are where they need to be. Neutrophils help you not to get infected, with every cold that comes down the pike. They also have the ability to go across the cellular membrane, so go into your cells and take good stuff in, take bad stuff out, and so they're important. And you're supposed to have, what I didn't know to all this, I knew we had white blood cells and red blood cells. There are actually multiple types of each, and some other white blood cells cannot do the job of the neutrophils. So I need to get those up. And what my functional medicine doctor and the hematologist I went to, the blood doctor, they both feel that this stems from some kind of autoimmune thing. And so the autoimmune caused the neutropenia, and the neutropenia feeds back on the autoimmune, and it becomes a vicious cycle. How do I feel? I feel very clear-headed. My energy I feel my energy. And it's more even-keeled than up, down, up, down, up, down. It seems more even-keeled. And so I feel good. This diet that I've been on has really, really helped my body a lot. I'm still reintroducing foods. I can't have bananas. That's weird. But I can have eggs, and I can add almonds. So I'm just going to keep trying new things and figure out, yes, this works. No, that doesn't work. I had green peppers last night. think I'm good on green peppers. And that is one thing I really, really missed, was green peppers. Because I love sweet peppers. But I'm going to keep with this diet and keep reintroducing things and just kind of go from there, and move forward and allow my gut time to heal. And part of that, I need to take the time. That's more important. I mean, I love making these videos and interacting with the community, but that is more important long term. But also, I have a son who's graduating in May, and we've just started doing all the prep. And so there's a lot of busy stuff that needs to be done between now and then. And my husband has some things changing at his job that could affect the entire family. So yeah, it's called life. for lack of a better term, it's life. And so nothing bad has happened. But I just want to put that out there that, yeah, I may go a month without a video instead of every 2 weeks. But you can always reach out to me on Instagram, mondotstitches. My email is mondotstitches@gmail.com. Again, messaging through YouTube doesn't work for me. Messaging in Instagram, messaging or emailing, I get those all the time, or every time. Also, I know some of you know my human name in Facebook. You know, I say Diane, but you all know, or some of you know, that doesn't always work for me either. So I know not everybody is on every social platform. I know I'm not. I'm never going on Twitter. Just personal preference. And there's other ones you won't see me ever on those. If you do, it's not me. But I'm just gonna focus on what needs to be done now, and I'll keep you all in the loop when I can. I'm gonna keep stitching because that's my sanity. I'm gonna quilt as much as I can because sanity. And if I can't do those, then I'm gonna do wool applique, sanity. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And I know Monday is Valentine's Day. I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. I mean, I get the kids a little card and some candy, just little things, because our anniversary is March 14th. But February 14th, 2022 is going to be the 3rd anniversary of my daughter being officially cancer-free. So it's a good day. It is a good day. And it still feels so good to say that she's cancer-free. So good. So I sent her a card, and yeah. I will never forget that call when she called and said that she's cancer-free. That was the best call to get. So that is what's going on here, and hopefully it'll warm up. Of course, it gets warmer, we get more snow, because it's actually warm enough to snow. December and January and February in Minnesota tend to be colder and not as snowy. Not that it's Minnesota, it can change. But we'll go from there. And I am also going to put some Flosstubers that are newer to me below. So if you're looking for someone else to watch, Granny or Grandma of 17 is one that comes to mind. My mom has you beat. She's Grandma of 18. But yeah, I liked her video a lot. I'm blanking on her first name right now. I'm so sorry. Also 605, 609 Stitcher. She was good to watch. And I'll put some others. I'll look through my history and figure them out. So if you're looking for someone to watch, I'll put some suggestions below. And that's all I have for today. I gotta finish kitting these up and unkit Ann Morison and do all the things. So love to you all, and I will talk to you later.